If you're doing the inner work and healing still feels hard, this may be why. I think most healing advice is incomplete. We hear so much about inner work. Regulate your nervous system, heal your patterns, work on yourself, go inward. Yes, of course, all of that matters. But I think something essential is missing. Hi, I'm Anya Tsai. I'm an author, trauma healing expert, and speaker. And for years, I've worked on trauma, recovery, resilience, inner safety, and collective healing. I'm recording this video just after returning from an intensive in-person trauma healing training. It was a powerful week, 5 days in person with leading voices in the trauma field, and I'm very grateful for what was shared. But I also left with a very strong inner feeling. Something essential was still missing from the conversation. Not because the work wasn't valuable, but because once again, the focus was mostly on how individual heals. And I kept asking myself, what about the environment people are trying to heal within? Because I've come to understand, both through my own inner journey and through working with others, is this. Healing is not only an inner process. It is also shaped by the world around us. And I think this changes everything. Because we often talk about healing as if it was purely personal. As if it were only about what happens inside you. Your mindset, your nervous system, your therapy, your patterns, your ability to regulate. And again, all of that matters. But healing does never happen in isolation. Healing happens in environments. Healing happens in the presence or absence of safety. It happens in relationships, in the pace of your life, in the structures you live inside, and even in the culture that shapes what feels safe, possible, or acceptable. And for a long time, I believed that healing was mostly about inner work. And I understand why. After trauma, especially after years of silence, it is natural to turn inward. And you try to understand what happened. You try to survive. And you try to repair what feels broken. You try to make sense of your body, your emotions, your reactions, your nervous system. And this inner work is deep and it is real. It is necessary. And it can really be life-changing. But at some point, I began to see something else. I began to see that two people can do the same inner work, the same deep work, and still have completely different healing trajectories. And it's not because one is weaker, not because one is less committed, or not because one is doing wrong or one is doing better. It's not that. It's because their environments are not the same. One person may be surrounded by support, emotional safety and stability, and another may still be living in isolation or chronic stress, anxiety or instability, or financial pressure, or relationships that do not feel safe, or maybe a culture where trauma is minimized or misunderstood. And these differences matter so much because the body does not heal in a vacuum. The nervous system is always in relationship with the environment, with what surrounds it. It responds to people, to context, to pace, to unpredictability, to pressure, to belonging, to danger, or also to the absence of danger. So yes, trauma may live in the body, it may live in the nervous system, but the conditions for healing are never purely individual, never. They are relational, they are environmental, they are structural, and they are cultural. And I think this changes the conversation in a very different way. Because when healing is framed only as an individual responsibility, something painful happens. People start to believe if they are not healing fast enough, they must be doing something wrong. If they are still struggling, maybe they are not trying hard enough. If their nervous system is still activated, maybe they are not regulating well enough. And that creates even more shame. But what if the problem is not simply that you're not doing the work? What if part of the difficulty comes from the fact that your body is trying to heal inside conditions that still do not feel safe enough? That does not mean you are powerless, and it does not mean inner work is not important. It means something more true, more honest. Healing is not only about effort. It is about conditions, the conditions of healing. It's about whether there is enough safety for the body to soften. If there is enough support for the nervous system to settle. Enough slowness for something new to emerge. Enough connection for the nervous system to stop bracing. And I really believe this is one of the missing pieces in many conversations about trauma healing. We focus on the person, on the individual, but we often forget to ask, what kind of world is this person trying to heal within? What kind of relationships surround them? What kind of pace are they living inside? And what kind of support do they have? What kind of environment are they breathing every day? Because all of this shapes what healing feels like and what healing really means. And this is why I believe healing is never only personal. Healing is also deeply relational. It is also collective. It is contextual. So if you are on your own healing journey, I want to leave you with this. If healing has felt harder than you expected, it does not mean that you are doing something wrong. Sometimes it means your nervous system is trying to heal inside conditions that still do not feel safe enough. And that is essential to understand, because that matters much more than you can imagine. Healing is not only about what happens inside you. Healing is also about the world you are trying to heal within. And I would really love to hear from you. What were the conditions of your healing? What has helped your healing feel more possible? Not only within you, but around you. Share in the comments, please. I'd really love to read your experience. And if this resonates with you, I share deeper reflections and insights on healing, on safety, on resilience, and the conditions that supports healing in my weekly newsletter. That's also where I will share future resources, reflections, and spaces to explore this work more deeply together. You will find the link in the description. Thank you so much for being here, and I see you in the next video. Bye-bye.